Hi, Susan here. Okay, I'm going to be doing some restoration to one of my collection pieces from my Couture collection 2010 so that I can put it on the website for you guys to be able to purchase some of my designs, show-stopping designs, and that's what's next. So I thought this would be a good way of showing you how to take out and put in a separating zipper and an invisible zipper and doing some tweaking and some restoration to these pieces. These are some of my couture pieces. These are some of my samples that I'm going to be restoring and putting on my website so that you guys can purchase from the many collections I've had over the years. And it'll be great for you guys to be able to play with it and use it for photography or for yourself or whatever. And I just thought that I would show you the process of how I'm going to be doing that with this particular couture piece. And let's get started. I'm going to start taking out. What happens is I make these couture pieces, and most likely they are put in fashion shows and presentations, as well as many times photographed by different photographers. And I love to have different photographers do a take on a particular garment. Like this one in particular has been shot by several different photographers, and I'll show you it. Just like it's so unique how each photographer captures it differently, how each model and concept showcases the piece differently, but it gets beat up. These garments actually just really go through it, whether it's on location or they're not really taking care of the situation or they're just really having fun with it, which I don't mind. But it kind of devalues some of my pieces, which is not good. But for me, having the photographs, having those still images of the pieces I create are still the most important to me. So I want to restore this to the best of my ability and show you how I did do that so that then we can start putting this on my actual website as well as Etsy. And let's get to it. I'm going to show you. First there was a lot of stains, and I'll do the stains later because this piece is actually like a jumpsuit, and so it's very long. It's made for somebody who is basically 6 feet tall. So even if these models are 5'10" or 5'11" and they put shoes on, it still can possibly be long, or if they're moving in a certain way, it kind of gets caught. So this one kind of got beat up a little bit. This is my sunburst pleated jumpsuit with a full structured corset inside to show you, and then it's all made out of a poly crepe to be able to handle the actual pleating and be able to keep the pleating intact. And then these hand rosettes were made with this structure that I have that's almost like a shelf. That was my design concept for it, like a shelf. And then it does have straps if needed. It does have like a little pull here, but both zippers, guys, both the zipper for the inside corset, as you can see here, as well as the zipper for the outside garment, kind of got destroyed. So what I'm going to do is first, you can see the teeth. You know, this one, it was the only color I could get to match at the time when I made this. So it is a plastic zipper, but I could not find anything metal. But actually, it's more comfortable if it wasn't metal. So it's plastic, it's fine. But it got a beating and it's completely toothless. So I'm going to take this out first, and then we're going to put it together. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so first I'm going to have to take this tag off. So this actually has the model's name on it. Because it was in a runway show, so that way we know who was wearing what. And it's kind of intricate here, so I'm going to take this part, the zipper, out first, and you can see that it is connected to an underneath part for the back with a snap. So I'm going to have to delicately take it out of the little part here first, and then all the way out through the corset. Okay, a lot of intricacies, but it's worth it. All right, so let's take this out. And I still can't see. Even though I've had surgery on my eyes, it's still not good for very, very close-ups. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on. Okay, so I took out the inside zipper that was a separating zipper for the corset part, and I took out the invisible zipper that was on the outside. And so now you can see, I just have to get rid of all these little stray threads, and I noticed that some of the boning kind of was poking through on the actual inside part of the corset. That's not going to be comfortable, so I'm going to probably put a little bias strip on some of these areas. I can't believe that the boning is poking out like that. So I'm definitely going to open that up a little bit and figure out what is going on. It was like sewed out. Crazy. Not happy about that. Okay, so here we go. Just gonna try to open that up. And see if I can get it back inside somehow. The bottom of the boning should have just been double taken care of. It was supposed to be sewn into here, but it's poking out of the actual jacket it was made for. It's not good. How in the world? It's like I'm opening up a can of worms here. Okay. Not good. So the boning is in here. If you can see that, it was sort of supposedly encased with this fabric, but she should have encased the end. And you can see it's all jagged, which is not good. I'm going to separate it from the lining for a minute. And I want to just put a piece to encase that edge there like that. Okay, so I encased the ends, as you can see, and then I stitched it Okay, so I have the separating zipper that's going to be in the corset here, as you can see. I had to cut it down. I stitched back and forth because you don't want it to fray. Then I'm going to force it back like that all the way to the very end because it's pretty much just where it needs to be. I can't get through over here, so that's about where it's going to be. I pinned the one side. And I'm going to pin this side because I want to make sure that it is even. I'm not sure how I'm going to sew the top half of it because I think it was sewn inside or by hand. So I'm just to get an idea of what's going on, I'm going to pin this side as well. It looks like she sewed both sides at the same time, so the lining that's in there as well will catch. I'll see if I can do that. The important thing is that this has to match at the same spot. So that's something I want to check. This particular seamstress was very skilled. She was Argentinian and she did a lot of couture pieces in the past. At this point in my career, I didn't have them in-house, so I would have to go to the different sewers and check what they were doing. I couldn't sit with them the entire time as they sewed, like before. So a little bit on the sloppier side. I'm not, certain things I'm not really happy about. but she was highly skilled, and the important thing was getting the structure right, and that she achieved perfectly. So I have that in. These are at the right level. So I think the best thing to do at this point would be to put a basting stitch in another color so that I can have this secure before I sew it. Important thing is I'm going to separate the zipper now so I can make sure that the inside is catching at the same time as the outside is catching, right? I'm just putting some basting thread in gray. Some light color is always good. And I'm going to make sure that this is basted. So I can just go ahead and stitch that. Again, I'm checking the back, making sure it's coming at the right spot. I'm doing it the same way she did it because it would be very difficult to do it another way at this point. So I think it's stronger too if it's top stitched on both the linings with the zipper inside, because this structure takes a lot of pull to keep it on. So now I have to stitch this just with the top half of this zipper, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go back in here like that. And this has to be stitched first, right like this. One at a time, not that back piece. This is the notch for where the fold is. So she did it at the right spot. Okay, so this has to be sewn this way first, up until this point, and then it's together from here on, and then this piece in the back will just be hand stitched to that, if that makes sense. So this is one side. Let me do this other side, and I'll be right back. So I basted this separately here because it has to be sewn separately, and then at this point it's joined and stitched together. And then this one is done by hand inside afterwards for the under part of the ruffled top. All right, that'll be next. So the separating zipper is put in the exact same way it was before, where it's stitched on both sides. This part is stitched first to the fabric, and then this part underneath will be hand sewn later. So it's pretty secured in there. Now we've got to put the invisible zipper on the outside. So I have a 14-inch zipper, and I'm going to have to baste this as well on this side first, like that. Okay, and I'll do the other side. So it's like day 2 or day 3, struggling with this piece, trying to get it altered or get those zippers replaced and some other tweaking. And I thought I could just do the invisible zipper in one take and not do all the other preparation that you normally do when you do an invisible zipper, especially when in an existing garment, and I was wrong. I have the separating zipper that you can see inside is done, and that is exactly the way it was done before. And the invisible zipper, it was very important to me that, of course, this meets here properly. So it does, but it was kind of sticking here at the end. I was getting, I guess, too close to it. So it's fine, on the top part, if you can see that. But I'm going to have to repair or sew in the last little bit here that I have. So the one thing I didn't do before was to iron the coils flat. As you can see, I'm going to iron the other side. Right, the other dilemma is getting the angle of the camera so you can actually see what I'm doing. The weight of this garment is really cumbersome because it is so heavy on top that it's really hard to just do a simple thing like this that you would think would be simple. But I put my visible foot on. I have most of it ironed on this one side. Let's see if I can stitch that down properly. Okay. Go. The weight of it is shifting it, and so that I'm hitting the coils. That's what's happening. And that's as far as I can go, so I'm going to backstitch a little bit. Okay guys, a moment of truth. I got the zipper in, the casing has been backstitched, and the zipper goes in nicely, thank goodness. Now we're going to do some of the handwork that is inside. Okay, now I have to clean the other side of this interlining or the corset area, ruffled top area. In, so I'm pushing the edge of the zipper in there like that. So there's been a lot of distractions, but let's finish this piece, okay? So I'm just sewing, hand sewing inside where the zipper is, the top flounced area, the top ruffled area in the inside as well as the outside. Let's get finished with this dress. So this wasn't matching up very well, so I had to take this little section out. Let me go ahead and work on it now. I'm going to put so I want to make sure that that is pretty secure here on the top. Okay, so that zips up now. Now we're putting the snaps in. And this is just to hold the flaps together. You don't want to go all the way through. This has to be with no stitching at all. Just to secure these a little bit better. Okay, like I said, this was very, very long, and it looked like there were a lot of black marks on the hem itself. And I did not use my typical stain removing. I have a whole video on stain removing, but it's primarily for wedding dresses in white. Because this is a color, because this is polyester, and because it's multiple stains, I use this product, which I sort of am in love with, except that it's supposed to be washed out, and we're not washing it out. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing it with a gauze cloth and some water, and then just sort of working on the spots themselves like that. So putting the stain remover on the dry spot, working it out. And then using some of the wet spot to kind of diffuse it a little bit. The gauze cloth, get the stain out first by working it out. And then turning around for the damp area or the wet part and diffusing it. Okay, here it is, the final product. I wanted to show you it. So here is the rosette for the bust area that covers the chest area. And here is the shelf that I was talking about that actually holds the rosettes in place. These are the ties to put on your hanger. It has a neck tie if you felt like you needed it, but if the corset is fitted enough on the person, you won't even need that tie. It's up to you. Both zippers are completed and finished. You can see the invisible zipper on the outside, as well as the corset zipper on the inside. It has a full corset, like I said, inside that holds the body in place. It has a tie that is in the inside with a casing on the actual pleated outside jumpsuit area. And that purpose is to cinch the waist with this ties to give you a very fitted silhouette at the waistline. And then your palazzo or your jumpsuit on the outside. Like I said, I worked on most of the stains, but there's a good 2-inch area of where the stains were. Also, there was a boo-boo. When this was made, there was a little cut that was on the actual pant leg itself. And the seamstress patched it beautifully, but I wanted to point that out. That has not changed over the years. It has stayed intact, but I want to point all of that out. This is a showpiece, guys. This is something if you want to get a red carpet look, or if you want to do a photograph or do an event. So tell your photographer friends, tell your stylist, tell your model friends, or if it's just you that wants to look fabulous and have a picture made in this beautiful piece. It is going to be on my website. I will have it at a very, very reasonable price. I just want to have a home for it. I want somebody to enjoy it. and you know, enjoy the process of what I've done. And this, like I said, is either a 2010 piece or 2011 piece. I'm not really remembering that exactly. It is restored, and I hope that you love this video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. I have a vast amount of videos on fashion design itself. Follow me on Instagram, guys. I give daily posts on Instagram. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, look for this on the website soon. All right. Bye-bye.